So to our top story this morning, and the Home Office is claiming that it has finally cleared the backlog of 112,000 asylum cases.
So delays cost the taxpayer around £8 million a day to put asylum seekers in hotels while they await some sort of outcome.
Well, the number of migrants crossing the English Channel has also fallen, and government figures show that the total arrivals in 2023 were down to 29,500, which is more than a third less than the year before.
Shoaib Khan is a human rights lawyer with his view on these figures. The government, Shoaib, are going to make a big deal out of this today. What's this phrase they're using for this?
The legacy.
The legacy. You mean, what a lot of rubbish. So they take us on, so they weren't part of the cabinet that decided before. These are the legacy figures. What it's due to is a bit of bad weather, I would say. But have they really got it cracked?
Hi, morning. No, they haven't. And even like you're saying, you know, what even is a legacy backlog? Who had even heard of that phrase before the Prime Minister came up with it? You know, basically setting their own homework. And to be honest, looking at what they've released now, failing at even that. So firstly, a factual thing, they have not cleared even the legacy backlog. So what they had told themselves, you know, this is a particular cohort of cases. That's what they had promised us. We will sort these by the end of 2023. Even those have not been done. So as with everything this government does, is you have to look at the small print of what they publish or what they say. So in there, hidden away in there, what they've admitted is that more than 4,500 more complex cases. So for instance, age dispute cases where the asylum seeker claims to be a child, people with medical issues, people with perhaps with criminal convictions. So the more complex cases, they have not touched those. So what they've said is we have reviewed all cases, but almost 4,500 of them still have to be decided. So even by their own admission, they have not cleared even the legacy backlog.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. I think it's clearly incorrect to say that the legacy backlog has been cleared. It just hasn't.
And what sort of percentage are you talking about that are still waiting? Is it a significant number, or are we talking about sort of 5% or somewhere thereabouts?
Yeah, so it's something thereabouts. So, but the point of that is that even the category, the cohort of cases that they themselves had decided, that was their target. So it's not as if the backlog is cleared. The point is, why let this backlog become such a huge backlog? They've been in power for so many years, more than a decade, and even then, when eventually they're getting onto it and promising to clear it, they decide a particular cohort. Claims brought by this date, only that we will tackle. So firstly, they haven't done even that. But secondly, what we're looking at here is, obviously we still have a huge backlog that's piled up since that date anyway. So, clearly they haven't even met, the target that they set themselves.
And are you of the opinion that give us a spell of good weather, sort of a month's worth of good weather, and these figures will be turned on their head?
I think so. I think so. Like we said, those for the past 18 months, the cases that have been brought in haven't even been touched yet. And I think that's the thing. Obviously, we've had the Rwanda litigation, we have other cases, and that has been a particularly busy period anyway of people coming in. So the point is, as soon as, like you're saying, maybe better weather, anything else, any other changes, and of course, there are going to be much more people that are going to be making their way here. So I really think we have to take, as with most things that this government does, we have to take with a pinch of salt. It is all smoke and mirrors, really. Another thing is that what they have done is that they've obviously firstly tackled the easier cases first. But even there, the refusal rates have gone up. What many people were, some were fearing, some were hoping that they would just wave people through and just grant people asylum to get through it. But in fact, they've done the opposite. They've been sort of just blanket refusing claims. And what that means is that we've just built up a huge backlog of court cases now. All those people who have been wrongly refused asylum now will take it to court, probably win.
Okay.
And it'll be, litigation and immigration courts. Their backlog has now doubled. And basically it's going to be left up to the judges, as usual, to actually, pick up the pieces of the mess created by this government.
Yeah, I just want to pick up on some of the things that you've said there, talking about 2/3 of applications have been accepted. I mean, the vast majority used to be accepted. Some people will say that it's good that now 1/3 of cases are being rejected, but you were making the point about the courts. I just want to come back. James Cleverly, we're going to be speaking to him later on, the Home Secretary. He's come out and said that whilst illegal entries across Europe are going up, the number of people coming into the UK has gone down. And this is a significant achievement, very much thanks to the 2,400 extra caseworkers that they've put in place. And he says that decisions have risen from around 3,000 a month to more than 20,000 at the end of the year. So do we need to give some credit where credit is due here?
Well, what took them so long? I think credit where credit's due. I mean, a blind man on a galloping horse could see they needed more staff. I just laugh at this and you think, well, what took you so long?
No, exactly. I mean, and what you said, I mean, even by the government's figures, it specifically said between, 4 weeks between November and December in 2023, more cases were decided than in the whole of 2021. So firstly, who was in charge in 2021? They seem to be saying that as if they've inherited a backlog and finally we're getting, you created the backlog. You were in charge then, why has it taken you that long anyway? But secondly, what I said is, what I said previously, we've seen some of the poorest asylum decision-making during these 4 weeks than we've seen for a long, long time. And obviously we know why, because, it's an election year. Rishi Sunak wanted a high, that's all he could actually come up with. He wanted a high to start the year with. And obviously, like we saw a few days ago, the incentives given to these staff, Nando's, Pizza Hut, vouchers, I think like £14 million worth of vouchers were given out to these people, just forcing them basically. We don't care what you do, what kind of decisions you come up with. We just want these cases resolved. And that's the thing now, so many of these people, the asylum will either lodge fresh claims now because they've not been considered properly. Many will take them to court. And, basically that's the situation we're in now.
Good man. Thanks for getting out of bed and talking to us today. Shoaib Khan is a human rights lawyer. Thank you very much indeed.